So for this question, we want to find the extrema of the function, and the first thing that really you should notice is that you have parentheses to a number. And anytime we have parentheses to a number, we need to use our general power rule. So the 3 steps of the general power rule are that we first bring down our exponent. So we bring down the 1/2. We keep the inside fixed at x squared plus 4x plus 29. And then the second step, we subtract 1 from the exponent, and that gives us -1/2. Now the third step is probably the most important step. We have to multiply by the derivative of this inside of the parentheses. So we need to multiply by the derivative of x squared, which is 2x. The derivative of 4x, because it's x to the first, will just be the coefficient. And then the 29 goes to 0. Now, once you have this, you then need to set it equal to 0. And remember, when we're finding the critical numbers, we want to remove any negative exponents, because those negative exponents, we don't really know how to deal with them. So we're going to simplify this. So in the denominator, we have a 2. Now this -1/2 exponent will move down to the denominator to become positive. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 29 to the 1/2 power. Now this 2x plus 4 is raised to the first power, so that will stay in the numerator as 2x plus 4. Because this expression is the only thing in the numerator, you don't need to put the parentheses, but you could put the parentheses there if you really wanted to. Okay, so now once our derivative is in one fraction, we can then set the numerator equal to 0, which gives us where f prime is equal to 0. So we would set 2x plus 4 equal to 0 and get x is equal to -2. Then we set our denominator equal to 0, and that gives us where the function is undefined. So we would have 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 29 to the 1/2 power is equal to 0. Now, when you work through this, what you will see is that the 4, you could divide by 2, raise it to the 1/2, and you're basically looking at where x squared plus 4x plus 29 is equal to 0. Solving this equation, you think about trying to factor, because we have factors of 29 that sum up to 4, but if you think about factors of 29 that sum up to 4, it's not going to happen. And so this is a prime polynomial. Now, if you were to go through the quadratic formula, what you would find with the quadratic formula is that this would give you an imaginary root or 0. So these would give you imaginary numbers, and remember, when we get imaginary numbers, we ignore them. So the whole f prime is equal to does not exist. There's no critical number that will come from that. So the only critical number is going to be this -2. So once you have the -2, what you will do is you will draw your number line and plug in -2, and then look at your derivative. And again, with our derivative, we have 2x plus 4 over 2, and then x squared plus 4x plus 29 to the 1/2 power. So now we just need to plug in a number to the left and to the right. So if I plug in, for example, 0, I would have it x is equal to 0. This would become 4 over, and then 2 times a positive 29 to the 1/2 power, and so that would give us a positive. If we plug in -3, let's say, into this function, we would have 2 times -3 plus 4, and that would give us -6 plus 4, giving us a negative, over, and then if I plug in -3 squared plus 4 times -3 plus 29 to the 1/2 power. Now, what you notice here is that you would get a positive in the denominator. You would get a square root of 26 here. So this would be a negative over a positive. So to the left of -2, you would have a negative. So then you just say that it's decreasing and then it's increasing. So we have a relative min at -2.